Welcome to Think Tech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidel.
And I'm Duke Oishi.
In our show tonight, we'll cover the dedication ceremony of Forest City's new 1.2 megawatt solar farm at Kapolei.
We'll take a tour of the new PV farm, and we'll hear from the developers and officials about how important this is.
We saw many VIPs come to attend the dedication from the government and from Hawaii's clean energy industry. The program was well attended and the crowd was impressive.
First, we said hello to Scott Paul, the CEO of Hoku Corporation, the solar contractor for the job. Then we walked around the PV farm to take a look at the PV arrays and the way things were set up. Ryan McCauley was our guide.
So today, Forest City is dedicating its 1.2 megawatt solar farm here in Kapolei. And Hoku Solar was very proud to work with Forest City and the James Campbell Company to bring this project to life. This project is very unique in that it's a Cinderella story for this piece of property. This property here is actually an environmentally controlled area. It used to be it's a regulated pile of heavy metals that are covered by asphalt, can't be developed for any other purpose. The EPA and the Hawaii Department of Health are monitoring this land. So the James Campbell Company was unable to develop it, and they were able to work with Forest City to turn this brownfield into a greenfield by generating clean solar power right here in Kapolei.
So what does this mean to Hoku?
This is the largest project that Hoku has completed to date at over a megawatt. We have other projects of this utility scale that we're developing here in Hawaii, not just on Oahu, but on other islands. We've talked about a project we're working on with D.R. Horton for their Ho'opili development over on the Ewa Plain, which would be a 5 megawatt grid-connected project, similar to this, but about 5 times the size. We're also looking at projects on the mainland of similar and larger size to expand this utility scale business.
This is sort of a special site. This was it was a formerly Hawaiian Western Steel, and at some point they had generated a lot of hazardous waste. So what they ended up doing is once everything sort of came to light, they ended up piling all of that here, and now it's an EPA Department of Health controlled site. And what they were trying to figure out is what they would end up doing with the site. A lot of the initial reports figure it's a giant asphalt cap. Maybe you could use it for parking lots or something, and then certainly the idea in recent times suddenly became PV may be a very viable option of something to develop for here. So we ended up coming up with is working with James Campbell Forest City to develop, pretty much everything that's decently south facing that we could turn into a base for mounting solar panels. So this is almost 1.2 megawatts of DC electric power. You've got a set of inverters just down there. You got 4 inverters, each 250 kilowatts. So it'll peak out at about a megawatt. I'm Ryan, I'm the project manager for this project. Behind me is Aaron Huba, who is project engineer. Ran this project, getting through HECO, getting through all the construction issues on it. Santi Santiago, who's the director of operations.
We are Hoku Solar.
Solar. All right. Ask some questions about the panels. Then the formal program began with remarks from the Kahu Samuel Gomes, Race Randall of Forest City, Jennifer Sabas of Senator Inouye's office, Governor Abercrombie, Connie Lau of HEI, parent of HECO and American Savings Bank, David Ray of the James Campbell Company, Scott Paul of Hoku Corporation, and John Wallenstrom of Forest City.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Race Randall from Forest City, and on behalf of Forest City, we'd like to welcome everyone today. What you see behind us is currently the largest solar project on Oahu. Over 4 acres of solar panels, about 4,200 solar panels, engineered to sit on top of this asphalt cap and produce electricity for the next 20 years. This is about 1 megawatt of power, and on a sunny day, that will supply enough power for about 260 homes. Now this thing that sits behind us, a $7 million project, will basically sit here for 20 years, hopefully with very low maintenance, and produce electricity that otherwise would come from those barrels of oil from somewhere else in the world.
Hawaii is emerging as a national testbed for alternative energy technologies. And with our isolated island grid, we are also able to test security measures and stabilizing grid technologies. And these are important not only for Hawaii, but for the U.S. Departments of Energy and Defense, who to this day or today are investing between $35 and $40 million a year in Hawaii to test a series of technologies important to the nation and the globe. So in many, many ways, Hawaii is leading the way in all that we do. And because of our high energy and electrical costs, we must do that. No excuses, no more blinking.
I, for one, am telling you right here today, this is a perfect example and just the latest example of what can happen when you have a united delegation that's able to work with local government and local companies in a profitable partnership. This otherwise would be what is called a brownfield. This is turned into what now we call a bright field. Not just a green field, but a bright field is what this is. And this is going to have benefits 2 decades down the line and longer. So remember, this is a political decision being made here. This just doesn't happen. This is a political decision. This is the result of trying to figure out what's good for our people and how do we put it together and who can help make it happen. And so we're happy and proud to be here with Forest City today. And we're happy to tell you that this is just one of many partnerships that we're going to see sustained and created and initiated in the days, weeks, months, and years to come.
Normally, I have the opportunity to speak on behalf of one of our operating companies or the other, either American Savings Bank or Hawaiian Electric Company. But today, I'm especially proud that both of our operating companies have had significant roles in getting this project to fruition. First, American Savings Bank is pleased to have been selected by Forest City, thank you, John, to be the lender on this project and provide the financing. Much of that, which is actually going to be repaid pretty quickly when you get your federal cash grant and also the state solar tax credit. I was kidding Gabe Lee, I think this is one of the shortest loans he's going to have on the books, but we love them anyway. And as lender, we banked on Forest City's experience and reputation, as the governor said, as a first-class real estate developer, but also one with expertise in integrating renewable energy into your developments. While this is American Savings Bank's largest photovoltaic loan to date, we're looking forward to partnering with Forest City and other developers on other renewable energy projects, and have made renewable energy financing a strategic priority for American Savings Bank. And of course, our utility, Hawaiian Electric, is pleased to have entered into a power purchase agreement with Forest City to purchase the renewable energy generated by this 1.18 megawatt project. It will help us reduce Hawaii's dependence on imported oil for electricity, as Jen said, and meet our state's very aggressive clean energy goals. And the contract's long-term price will benefit customers by helping immunize customer bills against the volatile and escalating cost of oil. Solar power, like this utility-scale project, which feeds power into our grid, or projects on customer sites to meet their own needs, is playing an increasingly important role in Hawaii today.
PV is the fad of today. Everyone is doing it. Our company, I talked to Connie about this earlier, are still actively looking for sites in this area and partners to provide more of these kinds of projects. Even 3 of us in the office just put PV on our roofs last week. And Hoku, if you're missing a few panels, it's okay. It's, you know, but thanks. But this project is a standout. And Governor, you know, for us, you know, you mentioned this was a political statement. For us, this is a cultural statement. This represents a rebirth of this INA. For over 100 years, these lands have been under our stewardship, a responsibility we take seriously and responsibly, and on behalf of the descendants of James Campbell, one which we are honored to assume. This piece of ground was misused, as Connie had mentioned, and became a dumping ground for industrial waste, a condition which we found unacceptable.
We took this on with the thought that by working on a rather challenged site, we could make a better Hawaii, and we could do it in a way that was respectful of the land, but also of our many partners. We had early partners with our congressional leadership, and at that point in time, it wasn't governor, but it was Congressman Abercrombie, who also was involved early on as we formulated this plan. Senator Inouye, of course, was leading the band, as Governor had said. But that was great, and that involvement has allowed us to work with people like Sandia National Laboratories on this project, but on others. It's allowed us to do a lot of good things, both in terms of creating energy and creating better renewable power, but also in terms of efficiency, which is also very important. So those were our early partners. With that experience, with that help, with that understanding that we gained by working carefully with others, by partnering, we came to this site, which had its own history and a long history and a challenged history, as Dave had said. You know, it's been here forever. It will last beyond our lifetimes, and it has had a history that wasn't great. Because of the actions, because of, we're standing right now on a bunch of largely lead. This was to be static and sit and not do anything. So we've worked carefully with Campbell, we've worked carefully with a lot of people to take this static thing and to turn it into something that's productive. So it is a bright field now, whereas before it was just something that was going to be here, not producing jobs, not producing intellectual capacity in the state, not producing, not offsetting oil that we're bringing in. So that's neat. That's a great story.
Then we went back across the street to the solar array, had a blessing from the Kahu, and turned the power on.
Well, right now, the Hoku team has joined our VIPs for the flipping of the switch, and we're going to have Kahu begin the ceremony. The sun is hitting these panels. Transformation's occurring. It's turning into electricity. And it travels on cables underneath the panels over to a group of inverters, which are the big tan boxes over on the southwest side of the project. At that point, it gets turned into electricity that can be used by homes and businesses in the area, and it heads out on power lines down the street to the rest of Kapolei. This project took about 2 years to complete, from start to completion. We started in January of 2010. One of the key issues with this site is that you can't penetrate the cap. You can't poke anything into this asphalt. So what we had to do was the engineers from Hoku designed these concrete blocks, and they're specifically designed to be a certain weight so that when we mount all these panels to those blocks and the wind blows during a hurricane, they won't move. So the first thing they did was they fabricated all of these concrete blocks, placed them all over the site, and then came in with an engineered aluminum space frame. Put that across all of the blocks as the foundation, and then meanwhile a crew was fabricating these panels in an assembly line. And so as soon as the rack was in place, they would march along and put up these sets of panels, which makes for a very quick process. Because once you get the foundation down and you get the racks up, it's literally just a matter of installing blocks. There's a couple of screws, and that's it. Once that was done, they take all the cables, they snap them all together, and then they plug them into the inverters. And that's basically it on the construction side. The really complicated engineering is involved with how to convert the sunlight's electricity into something that can be used in Kapolei, in Hawaii, on our small grid. We have actually 6 more of these. This is the only one that's on a regulated waste pile, but we're not afraid of those. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to do this, was to try and see if we could figure out how to deal with the liabilities and the concerns so that we could create something on a site that is basically useless. Because there are a lot of these in Hawaii, unfortunately, and these kind of sites. So if we, either us or someone else, would be happy to see these start to go on brownfields all across Hawaii. And then if there is eventually a use for that land other than solar, with this, all you do is pick it up and move it off. you leave no trace, and that's kind of the idea. So you could take this same system and put it out on an unused or a fallow field somewhere, and you wouldn't actually have to change anything. You'd literally just pick it up, put it on trucks, and take it over there and drop it, and then connect it over there. It's very modular, easy to install, and we're glad to have figured it out, because now we can start to deploy this everywhere.
You know, Jay, we have a very aggressive, the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative, 70% by the year 2030. Every single PV panel we can get up, every wind turbine we can get blowing, get that geothermal energy going, it all counts. And so that's why I'm just happy to be here, not only because it's in my district, but anytime I see 4,000 solar panels all in one place, it makes me smile.
When's the next one? Where's your next one?
We have a couple more. We do have a couple more. They're in the pipeline. It's still a little early to talk about, but what's interesting, and we're developers and do large projects, once you get it put together, it's actually nice. They go fast. Instant gratification in comparison to building a building or those sorts of things. Yeah. So this project, we were able to work long and hard to get all of our approvals and work with HECO, but once that was done, it only took us about 2 months to build, which is really neat, really fun for guys like me who get involved in projects that take quite a bit longer.
So now we can do it all over the place.
Now we should, and we should be doing it all over the place, and I think we are. So Forest City will continue to do that. We're out here ready to do more.
As Dave Ray said, it really is restoring and rebirthing the INA, because this was used as an industrial waste disposal site, Jay. I mean, you know, that's pretty bad. You can't desecrate the land much more than that. And to turn that brownfield now into this bright field with all these wonderful solar panels is just really exciting. And it really does feel good that we can work together as a community to get Hawaii off of oil.
The project cost something close to $8 million and was remarkable in the sense that it turned a brownfield, that is, a field loaded with hazardous waste, into a bright field, which generates power for the utility and the community.
The project is an encouraging statement of the progress of renewable energy in Hawaii. It's the largest PV farm in Oahu, and it's a win-win-win for the developers, the utility, and the ratepayers. This is the kind of project that can and should be repeated many times over, all over the islands.
Now for our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
ThinkTech's 4 to 5 p.m. weekday drive time radio series on KGU 760 AM continues this week, covering business, Asia, tech, energy, arts, and government. Tune in to 760 AM every weekday at 4 p.m. and raise your awareness on ThinkTech Radio.
On January 26th, the Hawaii Venture Capital Association and ThinkTech will present the annual Deal of the Year Awards, celebrating the best deals of the year for entrepreneurs in Hawaii. Sign up for these programs on hvca.org. And now, here's Bill Spencer, President of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, with this week's Spensation.
But one of the things that throws a shadow these days on everything is the economy. People, don't know what's going to happen, but maybe the Council of Revenue just knows everything. What do you think?
Well, if they do, they paint a pretty drear picture, Jay. I mean, it is all about the economy, and I'm always intrigued by how they can really project and pick numbers out of the blue. Clearly, we continue to rely on tourism. They indicate that there's some activity in the renewables sector, but as we know, and as you've portrayed on Think Tech, that's a challenging area. The margins are slim, and Hawaii already has quite a bit of renewable activity compared to other states. So what about everything else? I mean, as you know, we're having our Deal of the Year award ceremony
January
26th, and we're having a hard time finding a lot of deals. In previous years, maybe 5 or 6 deals, and this year it's hard to find a lot of deals, having been last year was 2010 where Act 221 was in place. So we're really seeing the effect of that having gone away. I think, of course, we're all concerned about Europe, but look at China now. The rumblings coming out of China are that the real estate, which is the great source of wealth for so many people, has really died off. There's no easy money there like there used to be. They may be going down the same path we went through a few years ago. So I think there's also concern that we're not really ready for Chinese tourism. The shopkeepers speak Japanese, they don't speak Chinese, and that really could be alienating to attract especially those big spenders.
Yeah, and there's no Chinese signs in the airport or elsewhere.
So, I think we got to keep focusing on the economy. We got to keep focusing on diversification. We can't let that slip by. And hopefully the Council on Revenues' crystal ball is not as clear as they'd like us all to believe, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, last year was not a great year for the economy. And this year, frankly, I know we're only 1 week in, but it seems to me that it's a little slow. I don't feel that kind of energy around that, speaks of a, ramp up or anything. And I think the Council of Revenues is probably thinking in terms of the old economy, not the new one. And the price we will pay for the loss of momentum in technology or diversification will be very substantial. Now's the time. It's not too late, but gee whiz, one of these days it will be too late.
Got to keep focused on it.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
You're
Happy
welcome.
New Year,
Happy
Bill.
New Year.
Shinyan Kwaila. And here's our co-working entrepreneurs, Richung Fujihira and Tony Stanford, to keep us current on their latest adventures at the Box Jelly.
Jelly Week is coming, is near, and is close.
Jelly Week, worldwide # Jelly Week. So basically what it is it's a group of jellies, so co-working meetups that are going to be global, and we're the ambassadors for Hawaii, and we're the only ones in the middle of the Pacific doing it, and we're really looking forward to bringing in a lot of people. Basically the idea is just to get people in the door from a business standpoint, seeing what we do, and then signing them up with our membership program, which we're really changing, and we're doing something we haven't seen anywhere else. We're changing the prices, and I'll go a little bit into that a little bit later. So just to tell you a quick overview about the things that we're doing during Jelly Week. On Monday, we're going to have Bill Spencer from Hawaii Venture Capital Association. He's going to be speaking, and we're going to be having him speak with a young entrepreneur. So we're going to have kind of a juxtaposition of two different
Yin and
styles.
yang style.
Yeah, yin and yang style. It's going to be good for Martin Luther King Day. Good for the Globe, Worldwide Jelly Week. The next day, we're going to be having a mixer with organic clothing, and they're going to be having an acoustic guitar session. The third day is a private party. On Thursday, we're going to be having high capacity makerspace, having an open house. And then Friday, we're going to be opening it up to our community, just hang out and chill and talk story.
So this starts on the 16th, and it continues on through the whole working week. So from 10 to 6, it will be open to the public to come down and really get their jelly on.
Yes. If you want to have more information, check out boxjelly.com. We're redesigning the site. We're going to be launching it for Jelly Week, so we're super excited about that. We've been working on it for a couple weeks now. It's going to be great.
So we're redesigning everything from the front end to the back end. The system, we're launching a brand new system that will everything from the plans to the website. And so with the plans, we're moving away from the concept of time. Everything will be unlimited access to us. And that's one of the key things that we haven't seen done yet.
Yeah, I think what we do is we were drawing from a 24-hour fitness model and seeing how they do theirs, and they're also a membership model, and we're going to see if it works for co-working. I haven't seen it tried yet with any co-working spaces that I've checked out in the world, so we'll let you...
We also had Clever Dog come down from LA to talk to us, and we teamed up with them as a new sister co-working, and we asked them about this, and they loved the concept also. So it's definitely something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, our relationship with Clever Dog is really interesting because they're also a 6-month-old co-working space. So we're in the same time frame, so it's a perfect match for us.
It's great to see other people going through the same learning curves as we are. It gives hope.
So with Hassan leaving, we're basically automating a lot of the things we're doing. We're getting ready for Jelly Week, so please check us out. Boxjelly.com, like us on Facebook, and work the way you live.
Place to work.
Place to meet.
Place to build. Work the way you live.
Work the way you live.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of Think Tech. But first, we want to thank our underwriters.
Thanks to the Scheidler Family Foundation, which supports a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including Think Tech.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Miko on Maui and Helco on the Big Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company, and CEO of CBI Polymers, a tech company in Hawaii.
Oceanit, another local tech company, is one of Hawaii's largest and most diversified science and engineering companies.
Don't forget Think Tech. Help us out by making a contribution on thinktechhawaii.com. It'll help us with all the things we do to raise public awareness about tech, energy, diversification, and globalism in Hawaii. Thank you so much. Okay, Duke, that wraps up this week's edition of Think Tech. Remember, you can watch Think Tech on OC16 several times every week. Can't get enough of it, just like Duke does. For additional times, check out OC16.tv.
You bet, Jay. For lots more Think Tech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on Think Tech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a sponsor or volunteer and help us reach Hawaii.
I'm Jay Fidel. Thanks for joining us on Think Tech.
I'm Duke Oishi. Aloha, everyone.